Hey, my name is David, and this is our Christmas Vital Moment. I want to read from Luke chapter 2, verses 6 and 7 for us today. And it's around the story of Joseph and Mary, and they're about to have their baby boy. Verse 6, it says this, "And while they were there, the time came for her baby to be born. She gave birth to her first child, a son. She wrapped him in snugly in strips of cloth and laid him in a manger because there was no lodging available for them." Imagine this moment here for a second. Mary and Joseph are trying to find a place for them to find rest, to find a place of peace for the loved one, Mary, to give birth to the baby Jesus. And then what's happening in this moment is this Passover celebration. So they're trying to find a place. They're trying to find a space for them to rest. And the places are packed. They are full of guests. They are full of people for this Passover celebration. But what's beautiful in this moment is they do find a place. It's not an inn, it's not a hotel, it's not a place that is clean. It's a place where the animals rest. A barn, a cave, a dark place that was seen as dirty. And in this moment, they have their baby boy. And I love what it says in verse 7. It says that she wrapped him snugly in strips of cloth, laid him in a manger. Now you might be thinking okay, what's the significance of that? See, in this time, you might be thinking this is what you do to a baby when they're born. You wrap them up. You give them protection. You take care of them. You make them feel warmth in those moments. I can remember wrapping up my baby girl, Tatum, for the very first time, swaddling her in the clothes that we gave her. The wrapping gave her protection. You could see the warmth that she was feeling in those moments. See, the significance of this was it just didn't happen to the baby Jesus in these moments. See, what happens in the Passover celebration was that each household needed a firstborn male lamb to be sacrificed for the deliverance and the forgiveness of their sins to God in this time. So each family would buy a lamb. They would buy a firstborn male lamb and give it as a sacrifice to God. But what was so significant about these lambs were the shepherds that took care of them, the shepherds that looked after them. They were actually, in their profession, would know that they needed to set apart the firstborn male. They were known as holy, that they were set aside. They would be inspected and noticed for any blemishes because they needed to be perfect because they were a sacrifice for God in the celebration of Passover. But the beautiful thing about what the shepherds would do is they would take these lambs and they would wrap them and swaddle them in strips of cloth. Protect them. Make sure that they wouldn't get dirty. Make sure that they would keep their perfection and their holiness for the families to be purchased. See, that's the significance. They were wrapped, set apart, seen as holy, would be purchased so that they would be forgiven for their sins. This is what the family would do. See, Jesus, he was set apart. He was seen as holy. He was the one that came for this world. The shepherds were told, hey, you're going to find a baby wrapped in a manger, swaddled in cloths, laid in a manger. You know where you're going to find him. These shepherds would know exactly where to go because the celebration, the symbol of the wrapped cloths around Jesus was a sign. There was significance behind it. The lambs were taken care of. And Jesus was being taken care of in the same way. The foreshadowing of the cloths that Jesus was wrapped in is a beautiful picture for us to see. These lambs were a sacrifice. Jesus was set apart. He would live this life on this earth of perfection, of holiness, of righteousness. But he would also be the ultimate sacrifice, the number one, the true Lamb of God, the firstborn male, was a sacrifice for you and I. So when we're thinking of this Christmas season, thinking of the baby Jesus, the foreshadowing of what his birth was, to be a living sacrifice for you and I, my hope and prayer is that we would find time to see the foreshadowing, to see the love that came to this earth that was wrapped and set apart for you and I. This has been our Christmas Vital Moment.